Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. I've been given instructions that I'm not allowed to stand in front of the speaker or sit down. So if I do that, you'll have to give me a prod. So Hayley asked me just to do a quick kick-off, give you a little bit of an overview of how we're doing from a business performance perspective, also talk about the One Commercial partner priorities, and then I'll dive into transformation. I met a few of you for the first time, actually, this morning. My name is Paul Lee. I'm relatively new to the UK OCP, One Commercial Partner business. I've been at Microsoft a very, very long time. I've spent a lot of time in the US. I run the change management transformation function within the UK. So it's really great to meet you all. My style is generally fairly flexible. So if you've got questions as we go, feel free to ask. I will be here at the breaks and at lunch. I'll be here all day. So if you need to grab me, feel free to. And Leah and I already had a conversation. I've got a lot of content to go through. If you want to set up some time with me individually, come and see you guys in the flesh, then happy to do that. So let me just talk a little bit then about where we are as a business right now. So we're as you know, we're well into Q2. We've recently had our Q1 business reviews. The state of the business actually is pretty good. So when we think about how we are in terms of business growth and versus plan, we're double digit above plan, which feels great, and we're more than double digit, more than the previous double digit of growth year on year. So we feel pretty good from a business perspective, and from a CSP perspective, we're growing at about 130% year on year. So the business is running well. We feel like there's good upside. The market, addressable market opportunity is about $150 billion in the UK. And as I say, from a CSP perspective, the business is landing good and continuing to grow. I put this slide up here just to give you a little bit of an overview of when we think about our strategy and our ambition for the One Commercial Partner business. There's kind of three things we focus on. One is around growing our joint business. We focus obviously on ACR, on Teams, on Dynamics usage. We're really focusing down when we think about growing the business about growing net new or capturing net new cloud customers, taking the customer on a journey with us, working with you guys around our co-sell perspective, and really thinking about how we scale across segments. So go from SMB all the way through. Create for us is about using the Microsoft platform to really build innovation. So working very closely with you around the innovative solutions and services we can take to market. And transform, that's really my bread and butter. That's the heartland where I really sit. It's more than just readiness. It's more than just giving the skills in the marketplace. It's really about how do we transform our business, our joint business for the future. So let me talk a little bit also about some of the principles by which we run the business. And there's three core principles. One is around customer centricity. This is really about obviously putting the customer at the heart of our business, not just from a technology perspective, but also from a how do we go to market and how do we work with our customers. And from my perspective, belonging to the One Commercial Partner business, it's really about how do we work closely with our partners and how do we think about our operating model and how do we work and segment from a partner perspective. And you'll see here that we've really doubled down in FY20 around simplification of that model in terms of how we're splitting services and ISV partners. Also, simplicity is core to us from a point of view of how do we work with our customers and how do we work with our partners. And what I'll be talking about within the transformation story is how we are making sure we go to market in a more simplistic way, both from how we work with our customers and also how we work with you guys as partners. And there's some really great content we'll go through today. All of the speakers, I know we've got Louise in the background over here that's going to talk a lot about the simplification of the models. And then finally, tech intensity. This is an interesting one because this is about more than just our ecosystem and our technologists. It's really about what we're doing within Microsoft as a company. So I'm on the business side, and yet I'm still driven to do a lot of technical training to make sure that I understand the technology that we're bringing to market. And that's a huge focus. If you think about the journey that Satya is taking the company on, is really about making sure that we have core technologists as part of the business, and also on the business side, the business people understand the technology. So that's kind of the kickoff. Hopefully that gives you a view of how we're doing as a business. Feels good, feels like there's good upside and business opportunity. You've got a bit of a view of what our core priorities are and the core principles. And I thought now I'd just go deep into the section on partner engagement transformation or change management. As I say, my style is fairly flexible. When I generally have this conversation, it's exactly that. It's more of a discussion, a one-on-one dialogue, it's a conversation. So feel free to chip in if you want to, or as I said, grab me at the breaks and we can walk through this. So the first question I'm generally asked two questions when I talk about change management. Number one, it's like, what are you guys doing? What's happening? And number two, it's the why are you doing it? And what I'd like to do today is focus more on the why, because the rest of the sessions we're running today is going to go really deep into the what we're doing. I'll give you a headline. You would have heard a lot about the new commerce experience. That's the core focus of today. As I say, Louise is going to talk a lot around that. We've got Kieran, we've got Richard Wills coming to talk about incentives. When you think about the new commerce experience, there's kind of three things I want you to think about or remember. One is a commerce platform, which enables first and third party solutions and services to live together, to reside together with common pricing. The second point is about the sales motion or the go-to-market motion, and we're making sure that the customers have choice around that motion, whether it is partner-led, CSP, whether it's a Microsoft field-led motion where we have huge opportunity from a co-sell perspective to get you guys engaged, or whether it's from a self-serve customer coming directly to a marketplace, which is Microsoft provided. They're the kind of the two building blocks, and then wrapping around all of that is the idea of agreements, whether it's a partner agreement that we sign directly with you, which makes which has flexible terms that you guys can sign and then be updated digitally, and then also the customer agreement, which gives one view into all of the customer transactions and the agreements, regardless of which sales motion that has been used, whether that's a partner direct, a field co-sell, or a marketplace motion. So that's what we're landing, and then today we'll go through in great detail what we're covering. What's interesting to me though is the case for change, and I thought I'd put these three core statements here around the case for change. Number one is just the fact that there is a huge market opportunity around the cloud, services, and solutions. And I'll go a little bit deeper with some research that we've done around that. Number two is the customer buying behavior. This one's really interesting to me because it's about not just how customers are now wanting to purchase and transact differently, but it's also about who those customers are and the fact that it's different people that are now transacting with us. And the third one is simplification. And you can't have a conversation with Microsoft without talking about simplification, because I know it's complex. And we've got a lot of work we're doing around simplifying, or what I like to say is synthesize the complex. Does that sound good? Brilliant. Okay, so let me first start off with talking about the market opportunity. Some of you may have seen this slide before. We worked with IDC. This research was done about 3 years ago, and then was refreshed last year. And it talks about the market opportunity driven by digital transformation. And the reason that that's important is because with the ubiquity of cloud and cloud services, as Satya talks about the intelligent edge, the intelligent cloud, there is a huge opportunity in the marketplace. Refreshed last year, we're looking at a forecast of about $4.5 trillion by 2023. The thing to understand with this is this isn't just about the transaction. This is about the value add, the wraparound services and solutions that we can bring to market together to capture that $4.5 trillion. And that's across, obviously, the four core solution areas. And all of this is really around how do we drive digital transformation for our customers. From a partner perspective then, so if that's the market opportunity all up, from a partner perspective, I thought I'd put this slide in just to give you some indication of by each different sales model or go-to-market, where the opportunity for partners is. So I'm actually going to start bottom right-hand corner, and that's from a CSP perspective, so the Solution Provider Program. What's really interesting here is just the volume of customers that we're already serving with the CSP program. So we've had over 3.5 million customers served with CSP, and we're looking at a growth of about 38% of customer base. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we look at, in the UK, about 130% growth year on year in terms of revenue. So a huge upside and opportunity. So when I talk about the CSP business, and then I relate that back to what I was saying earlier around the sales channels, this is really that partner-led sales channel. This is really about how we bring the services and solutions to bear, to market, and it's more, as I say, than just the transaction. Bottom left-hand side, you can't really see because the subtitle's there, but what I will say is this is the focus area where we talk about the field sales motion and the opportunity for all of you with a co-sell opportunity. So year to date, we've had something like $9.5 billion driven by our IP co-sell motion. And as we go through the year and as we move ahead in the calendar, we're going to evolve that away from just IP co-sell into broader services co-sell to really start to drive a broader opportunity for all of us. So we've seen, as I say, about $9.5 billion in business there. The thing that's missing at the bottom, which is probably the critical piece, which is what we've learned from the IP co-sell work we've done, is that typically those deals close 3 times faster when you're engaged in a cooperative selling arrangement. The size of the deals are typically 6 times larger, and they pull through about 8 times Azure consumption than just going direct. So huge opportunity around that. And then top right-hand side is really the view that I wanted to give you from our marketplace and from the self-serve capability. So we have, and we continue to build out our strategy around marketplace, but there's huge opportunity there. So we're already seeing something like 40 million users worldwide transacting through our marketplace. There's this data point here, 12,000 applications. That's a little bit out of date. We have much more than that now. But that's first and third party solutions and services that we've brought into the marketplace that are transactable. So when you think about those 3 pivots, there's opportunity for you to operate in each one of those motions. And where I'm really interested for you to think about is obviously the CSP and continuing that to go, but the opportunity for partner to partner and thinking about how you leverage the marketplace to reach net new customers, and that's everywhere from SMB all the way up into enterprise class customers, which I'll come to talk about in a minute. The last point, and I'd love your feedback on this, and you can grab me at the break, is the top left. So we continually do research around what is the value of being a partner with Microsoft. So 2016, we said that for every $1 that Microsoft creates, partners would be seeing about $6. We reran the research this year, and it's trending more towards $10. So I'll leave that with you. I'd love your feedback on that, and always good to have the real-time feedback so I can feed that up to my friends and colleagues at Corp. So the next one then, so if we spoke about market opportunity and partner opportunity, this one is really about what is happening in the marketplace and what's happening to our customers. So I mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily just about how customers are purchasing differently, but also it's different people within the organization that's purchasing. So what I like about this slide is the bottom quote here that says 65% of technology or solutions conversations purchasing now happens outside of IT and procurement. So that's really interesting for us, because if you think about where Microsoft and a lot of our partner base has come from, it's always been a very tight IT and procurement sales conversation. What we see now, though, is that there's lots of decision making happening on the business side, from a line of business, from a functional decision, such as marketing, finance, operations. Think of the hedge fund manager who wants to spin up an analytics instance, who's not going to go to IT and procurement to say, hey, look, I need to purchase a solution. They're going to go to a marketplace. They're going to purchase. They're going to look through a marketplace. They're going to try on the marketplace, and they're going to buy directly. And so that's really what we're saying here, is that we need to think about better ways to engage with same organizations perhaps, but different buyers within that organization, and have a relevant and holistic story for them. The other thing that we're really noticing is when we talk to our customers, the number one thing they want help with is their transition and their journey for digital transformation. And the reason for that, and I've got some bullet points up here, there's a lot of focus around security, a lot of focus around data and what we need to do with data. The number one thing though is if you work with the customers and you have the strategic conversation with them, if you have the security, the deployment, the implementation, the biz apps on Azure conversation, there's a lot higher margins and a lot more opportunity for you than just transaction. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a view in terms of how the customer buying behavior is changing and the different types of customer. And then I thought I'd just round out the case for change, the reason why, just on the Microsoft history point. This one's kind of interesting, right? Because if you think about where we've come from, Microsoft is what, 45 years old? Older than me. And we've come from a place where we started off with box product. We had packaged product back in the 80s, and because of that model, we grew a partner network, a community that was based on reselling and distribution. We then moved in the 90s towards server and CAL, and that drove more of a systems integration business. Following that, obviously, we went to the enterprise. We started to do annuity agreements. Licensing became a lot more prevalent. That drove the business around LSPs. And then we moved into the internet era. We got Splar. We had more of a hosted conversation. And then finally, where we are now, we're into the cloud, and so subscription is more prevalent. The challenge we've had with Microsoft, and I know you guys see this as well, is that in an effort to evolve with the times, we've layered program on program, partner type on partner type. And that's just really complicated. Really complicated for our customers to navigate, really complicated for our customers to purchase through, different agreements, different partners. And from a partner perspective, it's really challenging because there's all sorts of different programs, different ways that we're asking you guys to go to market. So part of the journey that we're going on with the new commerce experience is really to simplify that and to think about how do we better work with customers, to have a very simple way to go to market with our customers and also with you guys. And as I say, we'll talk later about different types of agreement, MPA, Microsoft Partner Agreement, Microsoft Customer Agreement, and how that'll work to really simplify the way in which we go to market. So hopefully that gives you a view of the case for change, what's been happening in the marketplace, the huge opportunity, customers buying differently, and our need to simplify. And I just thought I'd put this slide up really just to articulate what we're actually doing and what's in process and what's landing. And as I say, the other speakers will go deep into each of these. But if I work from the left-hand side, the number one thing that we're doing right now is making sure that we have a single commerce platform which enables us and you guys to represent first and third party services and solutions. Now, the way that's important is that facilitates then the conversation that we can have with customers about being able to transition between first and third party, enables you to have a single price list. We're doing a lot of work around the exchange rate so that there's dollar pricing, and that enables you then from a go-to-market perspective to then start to tie those solutions and services together to have more of a partner-to-partner or broader go-to-market relationship. So new commerce platform is one piece, the strategy around the marketplace. And then we obviously have the Microsoft Partner Agreement, which is the single agreement that you will sign, which has updatable terms, which is digitally enforced. And then the Customer Agreement, which enables the simplification of management because there's one place where we can see the agreements and the conversations that we're having with customers. We're going to have a conversation about Azure Lighthouse later, and that will all be about like how do you actually manage cost control, that sort of stuff. So some really great work there. But thank you for the question. So if I think about those different sales channels or routes to market, I just wanted to touch base on like why is that important? Because in the past, when we've focused specifically on one particular go-to-market, what it's meant is it's restricted the opportunity, it's restricted the reach that we have into a customer base. And so what I wanted to show here was just How we therefore map out, if we say there is a motion with this concentric circle in the middle, in the dark blue and the lighter blue, that says there's a field seller motion which you can integrate with from a co-sell perspective, whether that's enterprise or SMC managed customers, you can integrate there and you can co-sell. Outside of that, with a partner-led, a CSP motion, you have the ability for partner to partner, and you have the ability to start to scale even further because you've got that direct access into your own customer base and obviously into the broader ecosystem. And then finally with Marketplace, and I showed you some of those stats, some of those numbers earlier, the reach that we get through Marketplace, not only from a surfacing your opportunity out to the Marketplace, but the lead flow, global demand center, lead referral, and a lot of the work that we're doing around there enables the leads to come directly to you. And then finally, what I thought I would do is round out and say, so with the new commerce experience, what is the opportunity for you guys? What does it actually enable you to do? And there's kind of 4 things that are reinforced through this model. Number 1 is the ability to differentiate. So as I said at the very start of this, we're keenly focused on services and ISV partners. From a services perspective, it's very much about value-added services. You'll also notice here this term advanced specializations. So when I mentioned earlier about the customers wanting deeper technical partners that are trusted business advisors that can work with them directly, because they're not on the IT side, they're now on the functional business side. One of the things that we're doing is we're expanding the competency model. So competencies are very good at showing a broad set of skills. We're rolling out advanced specializations, which are very deep, a deep skill set, deep workload focus. So for example, there's an advanced specialization for SAP on Azure. There's like 6 advanced specializations Azure-based at the moment, and we will continue to roll those out throughout the year to go across the 3 clouds. So there's some really great, exciting stuff there. If you want to find out more about that, feel free to grab me. On the top right-hand side, so we'll enable you to differentiate your business by going to market, obviously, in the right way with the advanced specializations. We continue to invest in Microsoft Learn. We continue to invest in the practice builder content, so you can have the right information to build your business, to grow your business. And then where I've really focused the conversation today has been down on the bottom side here. So the bottom right-hand side really talks about using the marketplace to expose your services and your solutions to a broader set of customers. What I would say with the go-to-market piece is the more you transact through the marketplace, the more go-to-market services you will earn, and so it enables you to obviously get that further reach and that further extension. And that's go-to-market services, everything from basic how to do marketing all the way through up to sales proposal, tele-engagement, campaign management. And then on the bottom left-hand side, and this is a virtuous circle, obviously we want to make sure that you can transact through the marketplace, and then more importantly, be able to co-sell with Microsoft by, again, going back to the publish once through Partner Center, get your services and solution in there. That exposes across both the marketplace for customers and other partners, but also, and most importantly, it surfaces within the internal sales infrastructure at Microsoft, so MSX, through AppSource, the technical name, where our field sellers and our commercial sellers can see the specific service and application from a specific partner that they can put into a deal. So that's what I wanted to close on. Hopefully you've seen from a business priority perspective how we're doing from a business, from a CSP perspective, the market opportunity. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of an overview in terms of what our core priorities are, the case for change in terms of the huge opportunity, the case for change in terms of how customers are changing both individually and their process, and how we're optimizing from a complexity perspective, and then giving you some view in terms of what we're doing around the new commerce experience.